Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plugging into the world of high-fidelity audio cables.
Yes.
And what really caught our eye was this news about Esprit Audio.
The French company.
Yeah, the French cable makers. They've just partnered with Talk About Phonographe for distribution here in Canada.
Ah, okay. Interesting development.
It got us thinking, what makes these cables so special? They've been hand-making them in Confluence since, 1997?
That's right, 97. And yeah, for anyone really chasing that pure sound, that ultimate listening experience, Esprit is definitely a name to know.
Right, because their whole goal, it seems, is just letting the music flow, untouched.
Precisely.
So yeah, we want to explore why good cables are, more than just wire, and then really get into what makes Esprit Audio tick, their specific approach.
And this new availability in Canada is definitely the trigger for this chat. But yeah, to really get why that matters, we need to understand the basics first. What role do these cables really play?
Okay, let's jump right in then. Let's cut to the chase. Why should we care about cables? I mean, isn't it just copper wire moving electricity?
Well, not quite. Think of that audio signal as, incredibly delicate.
Okay.
It's traveling through your system. And honestly, cheaper or poorly made cables,
Yeah.
they can be like roadblocks. Or worse, they can add noise.
That noise.
Yeah. Distortion, signal loss. So signal integrity, that's the key phrase here.
Yeah.
Means getting every little detail, every nuance to your ears without it getting, muddied up.
So preserving the original recording?
Yeah.
What the artist actually laid down.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And think about our homes now,
Mm.
packed with electronics, right? Wi-Fi, phones, TVs.
Everything's buzzing.
Exactly. All that stuff emits signals. Electromagnetic interference, EMI, radio frequency interference, RFI. Good cables need proper shielding to protect that delicate audio signal from all that invisible noise.
Right. That makes total sense. So shielding is a big deal, especially nowadays.
Huge deal.
What about the ends, the bits you actually plug in, the connectors?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Connector quality is non-negotiable in high-end audio. You need a solid connection, both physically and electrically.
Why is that so important?
Well, it optimizes the signal transfer, for one. No loss right at the junction point. But it also means they last. A flimsy connector? It can fail, or even worse, introduce its own sonic issues. Crackle. Things you don't want.
Okay, so build quality matters for sound and just making sure that things don't fall apart.
Definitely. And it sounds like investing in better cables isn't just about that immediate sound boost. It's also like a long-term thing for your system's reliability.
Yeah, peace of mind.
Absolutely. Premium cables, they're built to last. Better materials, more robust construction. They should perform consistently for years, even decades.
You mentioned Esprit customers using cables for over 25 years.
We did hear that, yeah. Which really speaks volumes about their build quality, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so baseline established, good cables matter a lot. Now, let's pivot to Esprit Audio specifically. What's their core philosophy? What drives them?
Their main goal is pretty straightforward but profound. Transmit the musical message.
Okay.
With the highest possible fidelity to that original recording. They talk about achieving a fluid, natural articulation. Like the cable isn't even there.
So they don't want you to hear the cable. They're not trying to add warmth or brightness or anything.
Exactly. That's central to their philosophy. Neutrality. Silence. They see their cables as high-precision instruments that should, ideally, have no sound signature of their own.
Huh. Interesting. It's about what's not there.
Right. It's about transparency, letting the character of your components and the music itself come through.
And this handmade thing in France, you mentioned Confluence. Tell me a bit more about that process.
Yeah, since 97, every single cable, handcrafted there. And look, that's not just marketing fluff.
Okay.
It points to a really deep commitment to quality. Rigorous checks at every single stage. And apparently, the final check involves the creator's own ear. A listening test.
Wow. So a very personal, kind of artisanal approach.
That's a good word for it, artisanal.
Yeah.
And it's not static either. Their expertise has grown over, 25 plus years. Constant refinement.
How do they refine?
Listening to pros, listening to audiophiles, evolving their designs, their manufacturing techniques. They're always aiming for that natural, lifelike sound.
And I gather they're not about flashy looks. The priority is sound over visual bling.
That seems to be the case. They can make them look like jewelry, I suppose, but the focus is purely auditory. There are several key technical aspects they highlight. First off, the conductors. They use high-purity copper.
Okay. And why is that good?
Think of it like a really smooth, wide highway for the electrical signal. Extreme purity means less resistance, better conductivity.
Gotcha. A cleaner path. What else?
They talk about asymmetrical construction, which sounds technical, but it's about using a specific mix of dielectric materials.
Dielectrics, the insulation stuff around the wire.
Exactly. The properties of these insulators really affect the signal, so they balance these materials to fine-tune the sonic performance.
Interesting. So it's not just the metal, but the stuff around it, too.
Very much so. And then there's something they call progressive shielding. This is quite unique.
Progressive shielding. How does that work?
Instead of uniform shielding along the whole cable, it changes. It might start unshielded near the source, then get a single layer, then maybe a double layer towards the other end.
Why would they do that?
The idea is to optimize different things along the path. Maybe maximize bandwidth and detail capture early on, then really ramp up noise rejection where it's needed most. It's a clever way to try and get the best of both worlds, detail and quietness.
That sounds intricate, really dialing it in.
It does. Very sophisticated. And they even make their own connectors.
Oh, really? Not just off-the-shelf part?
Nope. For example, their EH50 connector uses pure copper contacts coated in silver. Again, it's all about ensuring that connection is as solid and conductive as possible, minimizing any loss right there at the plug.
Man, okay. So every little piece seems meticulously thought out, from the core wire to the insulation to the shielding to the plug itself.
That's the impression, yes. Now, the big question. All this tech, this philosophy, what does it actually sound like? What do people hear when they plug these in?
Well, looking at reviews and user feedback, the overwhelming consensus is positive. People consistently talk about a natural, immersive sound, very engaging, often described as incredibly transparent.
Transparent how?
Like, it reveals subtle details, harmonics, dynamics in the music you might not have noticed before, but without adding any artificial edge or color. The idea is you hear the music, not the cable. And crucially, without fatigue. You can listen for hours.
So the cable just gets out of the way.
Reviews often mention a nice balance, maybe a touch of warmth, but still very neutral overall, and strong dimensionality, like a really solid 3D soundstage.
No harshness. The common thread seems to be this naturalness, this ability to connect you more deeply with the music, uncovering layers, making it sound more real. That's why they're a favorite for serious listeners.
Okay, now here's something I found fascinating. This connection people draw between Esprit Audio and Cognac.
Ah, yes. The Charente connection. It's a really neat analogy.
Tell me more. From spirit to signal, I think they called it.
Right. It draws parallels between making fine eau de vie in the Charente region, and Esprit's dedication to pure sound.
How so?
Think about what defines cognac making. Purity is paramount, right? Getting that clear spirit, precision, patience, respect for tradition and materials.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Exactly. Esprit emphasizes high purity copper, minimal signal degradation. That mirrors the quest for purity in the spirit.
And the craft. Cognac is often small batch, very hands-on.
Just like Esprit's handmade cables. That meticulous attention to detail, that craftsmanship,
Yeah.
it's a shared value.
And time. Cognac needs aging, patience. Esprit has been refining their craft for over 25 years.
Precisely. Both understand that excellence doesn't happen overnight.
And, well, bringing us full circle.
Back to Canada.
Back to Canada. This dedication, this quality, it's now easier for folks here to access, thanks to talk about Phonographe stepping in as the distributor.
That's the news, yeah.
Yeah.
It should mean better availability in Canadian hi-fi shops, making it simpler for enthusiasts here to actually hear these cables for themselves.
Right. So let's try and bring it all together then. We've taken quite the journey into high-fidelity cables today, focusing on Esprit Audio. We've talked about why good cables are vital for signal integrity, avoiding noise, distortion.
Keeping the signal pure.
And we explored Esprit's whole philosophy that focus on neutrality, silence, letting the music speak for itself.
Handmade in France, using things like the progressive shielding.
All backed up by really positive reviews praising that natural, immersive sound.
Yeah, the commitment to delivering that lifelike experience seems clear.
And hopefully by understanding a bit more about the why behind quality cables and seeing the dedication of a company like Esprit, you, the listener, can make more informed choices.
Absolutely. It's about thinking how each part of your system, even the connections, contributes to unlocking the full potential of your music collection, getting everything working together.